99W.
Ray K4ZDR. We fix to start a net up here, buddy. How are you?
Oh, good. Good to hear you on the air. It's been a while. Thanks for putting that up on the for sale thing, for sale page also. Dale, good to hear you. How you doing?
Been fine, buddy. Feeling good. Newsletter's fixing to come out, and I got a full page on the newsletter too.
Okay, good enough then. Uh, I didn't realize what the date was. I just now sent my sent my dues in, so hopefully that gets your PO. It's still the PO box that I pulled off the internet.
That's the Glove P.O. box, and Judy, matter of fact, just picked everything up yesterday. She'll be doing it again first of the week. So anyway, she'll get it taken care of. We're not gonna kick you out anyway, man.
I would if I were you. Good to hear you. Well, I'll tell you, as they say, time flies when you're having fun. And, I guess I've been kind of busy, enough to keep me out of trouble, I guess.
I hear you. Okay, well, I'm gonna shut up, clear the air for the net coming up. Let some guys get it started. Join in with us. Don't run off. K4ZDR.
Okay, yeah, I gotta get the radio and all that stuff going in the house. I just spent the last 8 hours building a swing set, and it's still not complete. But I'm done with what I'm gonna do on it. Put it that way. Have a good one. I'll talk to you later, Dale. Good to hear you. K4ZDR and 99W.
All right, good evening. A little after 8 o'clock, Maury Amateur Radio Club Newbie Net is on the air. Net Control, K4LEN. My name is Justin. This is net held every Friday night at 8 o'clock on the Maury Amateur Radio Club repeater, W4GGM, transmitting on 147.120 with a tone of 127.3. This is an open net and all amateur radio operators are welcome to check in. While it is not necessary to be a member of our club to take part in our net, all interested stations are invited to join the club. For more information on joining, please contact any member or go to the website w4ggm.org. This is an informal net and your comments are welcome. Our net is not a traffic net. Anyone having emergency traffic may contact Net Control at any time. Again, this is K4LEN with the Maury Amateur Radio Club Newbie Net. Does anyone have any emergency or priority traffic at this time? All right, nothing heard. Do we have any announcements tonight? What's going on, Eric?
K4ZDR.
All right, Mr. Dale. Good evening to you. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Justin. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's going to have a great weekend. Looking forward to it. Don't forget the club meeting's coming up the second Tuesday night next month. And Justin, you're going to tell the date on it. I think it's the 13th or the 15th. 13th, I believe. And then also VE testing coming up that Saturday after that. So Hope everybody put that on the calendars. Don't forget right down field day coming up the last full weekend in June. Be right here before you know it. If you haven't filled out the questionnaire yet online, let everybody follow the group know whether you plan on going and what you'd like to be doing. Please go on there and do that. That gives them more information, and it's already gives them a heads up of how many people's coming. You know how to plan ahead on it. Let's see. Newsletter will be coming out hopefully by tomorrow. So look forward to that. And well, look forward anyway. Get you look forward to it. But there's some good information on there. A couple items, one item released for sale, and hope everybody like that. Don't forget next month we're going to somebody else. Mr. Bill K4BX will be our new newsletter editor. Bill did a great job for many years. He's going to take it back over and give us his expertise on it one more time. So I will be doing it this month, but Bill will be taking it over next month. Same way with the website. Joe, N4JW. Hope Joe, I got your call, right? It's taking over the website. So if you see anything a little confusing, whatever, don't worry. It'll get it all straightened out. He's moving it to another server. So it takes a little bit to work out the quirks and stuff. Anyway, back to you. Hope everybody again has a good weekend. K4ZDR.
All right, Dale. We appreciate it. The 11th, Tuesday the 11th is our club meeting, Catfish Campus. So, yeah, we look forward to seeing everybody there and looking forward to Hill Day. Like you said, it's going to be here before you know it. All right, any more announcements tonight?
Justin, don't forget also keep Mr. Carey in our thoughts and prayers. I'm not sure if he's out of the hospital yet. I think he's going to be in there 2 or 3 days. But just keep him in your thoughts and prayers. He gets recovery, gets home. K4ZDR.
Yeah, roger that, Dale. Hopefully they'll get out of there while there's train club's still going on. They posted some pictures on Facebook earlier, and they had a crowd today, big crowd. So it's always great. So all right, no more announcements. We'll start taking check-ins tonight. Anybody like to join in on the Newbie net? Call now.
This is WD4NCO. Name's Art.
N4GLA, this is Eric.
This is K4ZDR, Dale.
All right. Well, there's 3 of us so far. I've been enough to kind of get started there. Kind of go as usual and make the first round. Ask how you are and how you doing. So start with you, Dale. You doing all right tonight?
Hello again, Justin. Yes, I'm doing fine. Feeling a lot better. I had a little stomachache stuff this past week for a couple of days there. Sort of annoying more than anything. I wasn't really sick. It just keeps you down and dumps it up to feel like it's nagging at you all the time. But I feel a lot better today. And again, talking about the weekend. Everybody have a great weekend. I don't know I've been keeping up with all the contest stuff coming up, so I don't know if there's anything this weekend or not. You can always just go on Google Ham Contest. ARRL, they always put out a list if you want to go to their site and list stuff. I'll try to start doing a little better now that don't have such a load on me and stuff. I'm taking over. Well, I've had it all the time, but I'm gonna try to put a little more effort into the Facebook page as admin on that. And try to start listing more stuff and keep everybody up to date. And that helps a lot when you get on there and see stuff. And I'll also be putting out messages on the club e-group. That's been a big hit. We got about 40 or 50 members, 40 something members on there now. So if you're interested in getting emails and you haven't joined the group, join the e-group. You get that on the website. It gives you a link to it. Join that, and you'll be getting messages from everybody in the club that belongs to it. It's pretty interesting. I know they've had a couple of threads the past few days that's been really interesting. You guys have one about our antenna and stuff. It was pretty interesting reading. Back to you, Mr. Justin. You have a great weekend too, bud. KA4ZDR.
All right, Dale. Yeah, I was actually sitting here looking at the HF calendar. It looked like there's couple CW contests going on, a RIDI contest, and what that country is, AUCARIA, worldwide VHF contest, like a 10-meter CW contest, RCC Cup, worldwide CW and single sideband contest. Couple 2.3 gigahertz and up microwave contest and a ARI International DX contest. So that'll cover phone, CW, and ready. So probably make some good DX contacts this weekend. That's always fun. All right, WD4NCO, Mr. Art, good evening to you.
Good evening, Justin, and good evening to the people on the net. It's WD4NCO for ID. I tell you, it's a beautiful day today, and I got out of work and had to work on the darn car of all things. Had to do some mechanic work on it. But I got it done, so that's a good thing. I tell you what I'd like to see him bring up on the Newbie net here either today or one of the days is about the operation with how much the power that we operate on the radio and the linears. When's the appropriate time to turn your power up and how much to turn it up and all this. Good example of people that's using too much, and all this is get down on 75 meters. That can be a mess sometimes. But anyway, I'll go ahead and turn it back to you. Maybe someone else has a little other topic to get into. It's WD4NCO.
Yeah, that the new, I don't know exactly what the I've got a brain fart, but the new station evaluation, I think everybody's required to do it now instead of just the high-powered stations. I watched a video on it day before yesterday, I think. I was one of the spokeswomen for the ARRL, kind of telling about it, and the video was actually on QRZ, and it was, you look at it and how they explained it, it looks pretty complicated, but there's a couple websites that you can go to and you can plug your information in, how far away your antenna is to any, common areas where people may be, and how much power you're using, what kind of antenna it is, and it'll figure it all for you. I'm not exactly sure what's required of it, and guess it's probably something that I need to check into. Yeah, that's actually a really good topic tonight there, Art. We'll touch on that. And for GLA, Eric, good evening.
Good evening to everybody on the net tonight. This is N4 GLA. Just hanging out. Been playing with an antenna this afternoon. I was trying to retune my Ringo Ranger a little bit before I get ready to put it up on the roof hopefully this weekend. So get some time, and I'm still trying to figure out all this SWR and all this tuning stuff and all the different things that can change this and why sometimes it looks good and then you go back and now it looks bad, and I'm just trying to understand all this stuff about all this antenna tuning and all this. So.
Okay, question for you. Are you checking it on the ground, or are you standing it up in operating position to check it?
I am standing it up in an operating position off of my deck right now until I can get it up on top of the house, but I figure there I just got to stand it upright and it's in the air and, you know, not as high as it's going to be and not as long of a mast and all that stuff, but yeah, it's upright and operational. And I bought a quad band mobile antenna that I put on my truck that I've been playing with that thing too, just trying to figure out what its SWR looks like on the VHF and the UHF. At least that's all I can really test at the moment. I don't really have an SWR meter for the other two bands, but.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, you know, if anything is around that antenna within close proximity, I'm sure you know that it's gonna affect its your reading on it. What are you using to check the SWR on it?
I've got one of these SureCom SW102 SWR digital SWR meters that are on Amazon for like $55. I actually borrowed this one from K4PKA Rick. He bought one and I borrowed his that I'm using right now. And yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that. I had a ladder sitting next to it, a wooden ladder that I was using to crawl up onto, like, you know, then adjust things on the antenna a little bit. And I was debating, should I move the ladder away? Is the ladder affected? I mean, technically the ladder's below the ground plane of it, but even so, I was kind of wondering about that. And I'm wondering on my truck, too, the antenna that I bought for my truck, I actually mounted it to my bumper, and so that it runs up along beside the bed of the truck, and then sticks up, you know, past the truck. It's about 53 inches long, I think, the overall length of the antenna. And I'm kind of wondering if that's a bad idea because the metal of the truck reflecting off, you know, reflecting the energy off that one side and whatever. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, it'll sure affect it. And I'm not familiar with that actual meter, I guess you could call it. You know, and that could be, you know, a part of it too. They make a nano VNA. I've actually got two of them. I've got a small one and a big one, and the small one, the screen on it started acting crazy, and so I just, you know, was going to just junk it and go buy a new one, and ended up getting the big one because he said he recommended it, and it's supposed to be better and this and that, and I got it, and the touch screen on it don't work either. I was pretty aggravated about it, but I mean, I can still use it. Just the touch screen don't work on it. So, but they're really cheap, and I think they're pretty accurate. As you know, I've asked around and read around and done some research on them, and they're accurate enough that, you know, they're usable. Give you, get you real close anyhow. So that's something else to keep in mind. I think you can get the small one for like $45 or $50, and it'll actually do a lot of things. It's a lot smarter than what I am. I know how to check my SWR on it, and got a Smith chart and check coax. You can do all kinds of stuff with the thing if you know how to do it.
Roger that, I've seen that, and Cliff, WA0JTW, he said he's got one of those, and he actually just bought one of these SureComs too. We were telling him about them. I tried to jump on the Zoom meeting, it's on the link on the website, and it said that Zoom meeting is for 4/2. So I think that must be an old link that's on the website. I was going to put this into the chat there for anybody that's on the Zoom, but Maybe I'll jump on the YouTube and put it in there.
Yeah, I wasn't having much participation on the Zoom meeting, so I just hey, it's a little bit of a handful trying to do the Zoom, the YouTube, and net control, and so I just wasn't having much luck with the Zoom meeting, so just keeping with the YouTube going. So if you want to jump on YouTube, you can do that. We'll take a break and see if there's any more stations want to check in with us, and we'll kind of get started there.
4 BBB checking in.
KK4MKH checking in.
All right. Got Scott and Barry in for BBB. Good evening, Scott.
Hello, sir. Nice to hear you. I thought I'd jump in on the Newbie net tonight and listen around a little bit. I do have the advantage. I've been a ham, I think it's 43 years plus, so I've built just about every type of antenna known to man, so anything I can be of any help or advice about. In my previous work life, I had to teach radio theory and design to electrical engineers, and that was quite a project. So happy to be anything I can do to be of help. Also specialized in teaching advanced complex subnetting for IP addressing, so that's one of those subjects that a lot of people are scared to death of. It's really straightforward. Anyway, I submitted a article for SDRs Part 1 this week, so hopefully that'll make the newsletter. K4LEN and the group in for BBB.
All right, Scott. Well, appreciate you joining in with us there tonight. Sure we can pick your brain and get some good information out of you. Barry, KK4MKH, how you doing, sir?
KK4MKH doing the lesson. Hope you have a good night. Sorry about that. I'm on the net while ago. Sorry about that. Got on the swap met with Peter net, the OR net tonight. They called on the swap met net. I've not got nothing to put on the net tonight, though. I'm not getting the meeting coming up, the family meeting. May the 11th at 2509 King Avenue. Yeah, Catfish Campus. Not get that coming up. May the 11th. Not get that coming up. I've not got much stuff else on the net tonight, Dustin. You're doing a good job. KK4MKH.
Well, all right, Barry. Well, we appreciate you being there, sir. And stick around and join us. We'll have us a good time. Let's see. Anybody got any? Anybody want to touch on Eric's different SWR ratings on his antenna there?
Tested in 24 words or less. What's the SWR question?
Go ahead there, Eric.
Yeah, I gotta grab the microphone I got laying here. Got too many of them laying here in front of me. I'm out there. I've got a Ringo Ranger, a VHF Ringo Ranger that I was out there trying to tune. I'm getting ready to put it up on the house, and I was trying to tune it one more time just to make sure I had it tuned in good. And I tuned it in, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I had it really nice. Everything was like below 1.1. There might have been, a couple of spots where I was a little over 1.1, but everything was pretty much below that. But now today I go out there and start tuning it, and it's kind of all over the map. And so I started trying to adjust it and tweak it. And there's a ring on that thing that you adjust for the SWR to adjust it, and then of course you can also adjust the length and things. And I've been playing around with it, and I'm just trying to understand, what things and why it maybe changed so much. And I don't know if it's atmospheric conditions and weather and things, or I don't know. It's just weird to me that it seems to change so much. And before I get too frustrated with it and just throw it on the roof and say, the heck with it, it's going to be what it's going to be. I'm trying to make sure I get it right.
Well, to be frank, this is for BBB. I've had 2 or 3 Ringo Rangers. I've never adjusted a single one.
basically what that is, it's basically a hairpin match or a gamma match, and I would just leave the thing alone. It's very much dependent on the quality of the ground at the antenna. I'd also recommend you use some good moldable silicone antenna tape for your antenna connector, because in a previous life I had thousands of antennas failing until we went to that moldable silicone, well, hundreds, till we went to that moldable silicone antenna tape. You just wrap that around like you would electrical tape and then mold it with your hand. The connectors will look like new in 10, 15 years. You wouldn't believe what a good job that stuff does. It's probably grounding at your antenna more than anything else, Eric.
Well, and that could be, I mean, I've got it right now, I've just got it sitting on my deck, so it's sitting on my wooden deck, the mast. I've got a mast stuck into the corner of the deck, you know, and kind of strapped on there, and then I've got it sitting on top of that, sort of. So it's not really on a mast that's even going technically into the ground yet. So I don't know if that has something to do with it, maybe.
I'll almost guarantee it will. Also, anything in the near field of that antenna is going to affect it. So if you have a grill on the deck or aluminum siding on your house or gutters or anything like that, that stuff will affect it. Once upon a time, I rented a house in Murfreesboro, and they were real picky about antennas.
Yeah. Audio's gonna get worse. I got a friend of mine that's close to me. All he's got is a horizontal antenna and he can't get into the repeater. So he's gonna, I got my crossband repeater. And he's gonna get into me to get into the repeater.
Other than let those things sit near each other to make a better ground all the way through them?
I would run something like number 14 copper down the side of the mast, 5 or 6, and maybe put a 4-foot rod at the bottom in the ground, just for safety's sake. I sent an email a little while back about polyphasers. If you're going to leave stuff connected when you're away from the house, polyphasers are the way to go. I have no interest whatsoever in the company or commission or anything. I just sold about 5,000 in a previous job, and once we put the polyphasers in, we never had a failure. I did have a field engineer send me back what was left of an antenna. It was only a charred piece of SO239, but the rest of the antenna was vaporized. The radio was not damaged at all. Over.
Now, Roger, I remember you posted about the polyphasers. I'm just looking at those. I have a ground rod in the ground, and I was gonna put a bracket on the end of it and run off the ground rod and all that stuff, but I was debating if I needed something actually down the side of the mast as well from the top of the mast. And should I connect that to the actual antenna base where the ground plane? Because that thing's got that ring on there with the 3 ground rods sticking out of it. Do I attach to that point up below that?
Ground sleeve there at the bottom of the Ringo range is the right place to do that. Remember, when lightning strikes, the leader goes from the ground up, and then the big stroke comes from the cloud down. So you want to have that antenna as close to real, true ground potential as you possibly can. So if you're fortunate to find a kind of story about my tower getting struck in Rutherford. Let's just say the he was so strong, I got no damage whatsoever, but it blew up the seat in Vancouver.
I had a neighbor on a weather station for the National Weather Service, weather vane on his chin one night. The loudest thing I've ever heard in my life, and set off my smoke alarms and all kinds of stuff in my house, and looked at the air conditioning, all kinds of stuff.
Had a friend who lost a microwave at her house. Got her power line testers. The pocket behind. Probably had open or an open. But I personally recommend separate grounds from service ground. A lot of people by that. I disagree because you're looking at zero ohm full ground. Lots of times those service grounds in the house are not that great. It's supposed to be a 6 or 8 foot rod, but when in doubt, buy a couple of 8 foot rods and drive them with a post hole digger over.
Roger that, yeah, like I said, I bought an 8 foot rod and I cut it in half because I wasn't sure I could even drive 8 foot ground right here up of a rock, basically. I was going to maybe couple those together. I'd read about going as far around your house as you can, tying back into that service ground that's on the house, so you put them all together, so they ground it all together. I don't know what your thought is on that.
And for BBB, just.
Going
No,
on,
I agree
Todd.
with you. More grounding is always better than less grounding. At my house in Rockvale, I had an 8 foot rod at the base of the tower, an 8 foot rod about 6 feet away, another 8 foot rod at a second tower, and they were all tied together. That was in a time when I was trying to save money, so I used old dryer pigtails because that's a big hunk of copper, and it's pretty cheap to get. And I've got a dryer pigtail I'm going to use for that exact same purpose myself. But lightning it's astonishing the way lightning will find a path to ground. At this friend's house with a microwave, it actually destroyed a power line going down to her well, to her spring box, about 200 feet from her house. That was apparently where the lightning found the best path to ground, and it burned up the wire. Then the stroke came down. So lightning is very, very strange, and it will always find a way to the very best ground. But when in doubt, have more than you think you need. Over.
Or GLA, yeah, right to that. We're grounded. But
You're exactly right. You can't be too safe. Same thing with your rigs and stuff inside. You can get these little bus bars that go inside electrical boxes, like D-Bolt and Square D and stuff like that. It's a little bus bar, basically. And it has screws in it, and you can put wires in from the side. And you can put one of those underneath your radio room table and put ground wires from all your different equipment down to those little bus bars.
That's what he's talking about right there.
Good ground. So, better safe than sorry. Didn't mean to take too much time. I hope it was interesting. For GLA in the group and for BBB.
yeah, roger that. I'm wearing it. Probably going to mount a box on the outside of my house. Coax and ground and all stuff all through there. Yeah, I'll jump off here and that's exactly what I was just showing that on the little grounding bar. So yeah, that's what I was planning to get.
You're exactly right. A friend of mine who used to design systems for the Tennessee Highway Patrol and then also later on for Sprint, he has a similar type thing. He has a copper box on the outside of his house, and he's got all his bulkhead coax connectors and polyphasers out there in that box. And I think he goes down to 1 or 2 8 foot rods from that box and then in the house. So, good design. I think that's a great plan. Over.
All right, Art, come on in here. Okay, Art, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I got a question about grounds. The gentleman talking about grounds on there. I had experience with lightning here a number of years ago. Transformer about 100 foot from my house. Lightning hit it directly and blew clear off the pole. It come down and went across and come into my house and blew out my main power connection. Blew the breaker out. Blew a bunch of sockets out in the house. Took out our
radios in the basement. They did have the antenna off of them, but I had no grounds run to them. It was the only darn thing that never got hurt. And so I wonder if it's good to make the radio a real good ground on the radio, or whether that attract lightning. Over to you.
Yes, sir, WD4NCO in Fort. Bart, I understand your point exactly. And lightning come in, it's called common mode. In other words, if you got a normal 220 coming in the house, well, 273, however you want to call it, got 3 wires coming in the pole, and the lightning comes in on all 3 of them, basically there's nothing safe. Common mode strike like that is going to destroy stuff no matter how you cut it. I understand your point. I know people pull everything when they leave the house. I've never been able to really do that effectively, but I have coax switches. I use push-on connectors. I'm leaving for a while. I'll pull the connectors off so at least the coax switch is not hot. But I see your point exactly. Common mode strike is going to get you no matter what. WD4NCO at Fort BBB.
Fort WD4NCO. Yeah, I know, but what got me on that? He got our television, got all that stuff. It was, I think, $4,000 or $5,000 worth of damage. And but it didn't get those 2 radios. The radio and the power supply didn't bother them at all, and they weren't grounded. But on the other point, I had the computer sitting right by it, and it wasn't plugged in that particular power supply. I had the what they call little power surge things on, and I didn't have it plugged with the power surge, and it got that computer, it roasted it. But lightning is a strange animal. You never know what it's going to do. So I was just curious because that's on the ground. But on the other hand, on my radios, I ground my linear and I ground my antenna tuner. Put a ground on it, but my radios I don't ground them. Just for that point, and that may be a mistake. Who knows? Go fooling on something that you can't predict. It's hard to do. So I'll go ahead and turn it back to net control. It's WD4NCO. Conversation.
That's what we all about here at Newbie Net. Anything got any questions about, we're going to try to help you get some answers. We got anybody else want to jump in here with us tonight? Alright, nothing heard. Well, the May 3rd deadline, I guess I need to do some research on it, but with the station evaluation, anybody got any good information on that? Is that for everybody, or is that for, what is their requirements on that now?
For BBB, I have an opinion.
All right, Scott.
I had to produce an RFI document for every one of the systems I put up. I won't go into for who I put them up, but I did have probably 600 or 700 installations, 850 Wi-Fi access points, and I had to do some sort of an evaluation for every one of those. And it's as far as I knew, it was only paperwork. Nobody ever measured a single field strength. Primarily done by distance and height above ground and such as that.
Okay, I got you. Are they extending that to everyone now? Is my understanding that correctly?
up before May 3rd is grandfathered in, if I'm not mistaken. But no, I would love to see some of these really wide open, nasty pagers. Have to do some of that testing myself. I'd love to see that over.
Yeah, roger that. Yeah, I don't know. I've not put enough say effort into exactly what what it's all about. I wasn't for sure if it was everyone, and I think you had before you had to be over, certain wattage, or had to do the evaluation on it. Or I was thinking that they extended it to all amateurs now. I don't know. I need to look it on QRZ right now, see if I can maybe get some info on that.
Probably find some stuff on ARRL.org as well. For BBB, long story short, I'm going to let some bureaucrat in some office in Washington, D.C. or Powder Springs, Georgia, fill out a spreadsheet that will help them secure their job till they retire over.
I have to agree with you. Yeah, it's a big nothing, and like you said, that's just somebody, like you said, I don't think you could said it better. Okay, Eric.
For BBB on the ARRL.org website, if you go on the tab regulatory, it's one of the items there on that first page of regulatory.
Yeah, I actually just pulled it up right before you said that. So, FCC has announced that rule changes detailed in the lengthy 2019 report. Well, y'all can go read it yourself because it's pretty lengthy. I'm trying to get a overhead on it and cut right to the chase and maybe get an answer right here and now, maybe.
Existing stations, they're not modified, have a 2-year grace period till the same time 2023.
Alright, well, if you setting up your station, you better get that thing up before May 3rd, and you won't have to worry with it for a couple years. So, yeah, I couldn't agree with you better there, Scott. It's just somebody making sure they don't get the boot, get that retirement in. Alright, we got anybody else got any topics for tonight? Anything on your mind?
For BBB, one quick thing on the RFI, the RF environment testing. The Williamson County ARES is supposed to be producing some kind of a document and also some kind of testing guidelines. And I think I've heard them say that they're going to be assisting people in measuring that. Basically, I wouldn't get awfully upset about it because, let's face it, back during the CB radio boom in the 60s and 70s, they couldn't keep track of all the stuff that was going on. I doubt they'll even touch this. So we have enough issues with other people operating legally or illegally to probably not really worry about this. But you never know. You might get some bureaucrat that's just got the hots against you. Never know. Anyway, Justin Goodnett, K4LE and N4BBB.
I watched a little short, well, it wasn't a short video, but it was a video, a lady with the ARRL, she'd made a YouTube video of it, and, you know, explaining that it was no problem, nothing to do, it's easily done, and even gave you a couple of websites to that you could just go and enter in your shack information in, and it would automatically fill it out for you and do all the mathematical equations, and you know, it just asks you a few simple questions: your antenna height, what kind of antenna, how much power, and it done all the figuring for you. And if I can find that video again, I will see if I cannot post it in the email reflector.
Just be advised that most of those calculators are going to always figure on worst case scenarios. Remember, we don't operate 100% duty cycle. If we're sitting here running RTTY or PSK31 for 24 hours a day, that's one thing. But duty cycle is a very important part of the RF environment. So most of us, right now I'm transmitting on a mobile antenna that's about 10 feet from me inside the living room, and that's my entire UHF VHF radio system. I'm going to have a discount at 40 feet in the next month or two, but a lot of this stuff is just oversensitivity. You know how it is. Nothing further. Sorry to talk so much. And K4LE and N4BBB.
Oh, you're fine, Scott. That's we're here to help pass along information and help with any any questions that you may have. You know, it's a lot easier to produce answers when you've got a group of people instead of one or two people, you know, that may or may not know the answers. You know, it's a lot better. You got more brains there. You got a group of people, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help anybody with any kind of questions of any kind about amateur radio. And I don't know, that's kind of what we do. So that's no problem whatsoever.
I second that. N4BBV, we enjoy all your knowledge. They're passing a lot of information, and I got one more question I'll throw out to you. I got plans that I found in the ARRL QST magazine from September 2019 about making an off-center fed dipole, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of wire to use on that, for the leads coming out, that is going to be, UV resistant, or, going to hold up to being outside, because I want to put it up, just leaving it permanently. I'm not going to put it up, take it down. I just want to put one up permanently. So I'm curious if you had suggestions with all your antenna building knowledge that you said you've had over the years.
Well, Eric, everything I've got right now is fed with RG8X. I bought a couple of 200-foot rolls, and the antenna I've got is sort of a parallel-loaded fan dipole. It's got two feed lines. I put an article up on it about 2 months ago on the club website, and it's just a tremendous antenna, just tremendous. But off-center fed, if they work right, they're great because you don't have to tune them. If they don't, then they can be a nightmare. I put up a G5RV that was just a nightmare to get it to resonate where it was supposed to. So I ended up using some split nuts and putting another 400 feet of wire on it, and made myself a 500-foot horizontal loop. And as far as that went, it was great because a loop antenna is self-terminating. It takes all the precipitation static to ground. So it was the quietest antenna I've ever owned. I just transmitted on another antenna and listened on it. Good if you've got multiple radio ports on your radio. But 8X is usually just great. I mean, if you got to bury it, do what I used to do. I used to bury it inside garden hose. Garden hose is cheap, a whole lot cheaper than putting it inside PVC. And garden hose is waterproof. So there's lots of stuff you can do, but I think you're going real smart on your system. Over.
Yeah, roger that. That's what I've been using to hook up the antennas, RG8X. But I was talking about, isn't it just a single copper lead that comes out of each side of that off-center fed dipole that, you make your transformer, whatever they call that thing, I can't think of the term, and then you can bring like copper wire out the sides of those things, and, you could go to the hardware store and buy some TFFN or whatever it is, but that probably wouldn't hold up in the sun, I wouldn't think, for very long.
Depends on if it's UV resistant. The KU4B that built my antenna I've got up now, for the top conductor of that antenna, he used stainless steel stranded wire because he figured it could handle anything and it's strong. I've used electric fence wire. I used to have a 1,100-foot terminated beverage antenna. I could hear AM broadcast stations in the Indian subcontinent. It was an amazing antenna. But electric fence wire is strong, has a little bit of resistance, but it works well. In general, what most people use is just good copper, stranded copper. After about 10 years, it'll start turning dark. It'll get a little bit green here and there. But by and large, the RF travels on the outside of the wire. So with stranded copper, you've got more surface area. Over.
Interesting. Good to know. Yeah, I didn't realize that it makes sense, I guess, but yeah, that it travels on the outside of the wire, so the strands gives you more surface area. That's a good point.
Sure. And use black UV-resistant cable ties too. The white ones will sun rot in about 3 or 4 years. Same thing with antenna rope. Get some of that good black Dacron you can get from some of the different ham radio suppliers. That stuff will get stiff, but it'll still last you 10 or 15 years.
Helpful information. I'm going to have to try to find that article that you put on the club website and see if I can find that about your antenna. It got me curious.
Any trouble finding it, just email me, info@bbb@arrl.net, and I'll send it to you directly. It's just a Word document.
Roger that. Thanks very much. N4GLA, I'll turn it back to net control.
All right, Eric. Yeah, certainly some good conversation tonight. Good information being passed around. Good net. Anybody else got anything? Anything else to add to this? All right. Trying to think if there's anything else. Maybe how crucial is a bandpass filter for field day use. Like a bandpass filter for each radio. Is that pretty much a standard required thing?
For BBB, my opinion is you're just going to be up for 24 hours. Why worry about it? Over.
Okay, I got you. I didn't know if which I guess more than likely there's I don't know. You're not going to be operating on the same band for. I was curious. Something that I don't know is all the radios. Say if you got a 4 alpha station set up, 4 radios transmitting in close proximity. how hard is that on the front end of these radios?
For BBB, my opinion is it can be, but if you stagger your stations a little bit, have somebody on 40 while you're staying away from the third harmonic on 15 or 80 or 160, something like that, you're pretty good. A field antenna I used a lot, and we used to hang it from the fire tower on top of Tiger Hill in south of Murfreesboro. I would just get 150 feet of copper wire with a piece of plexiglass in the middle and feed it with TV twin lead, 300 ohm TV lead to a tuner, and that'll work everything like nobody's business. The tuner will also cut down harmonics, but really, unless you're working 6 meters, there's almost no need for a bandpass filter. You're in some cases you're going to tear up the other guys anyway. So you just don't have 2 or 3 people working on 40 phone at the same time.
Okay, I got you. I was thinking, how if that was crucial or not. So I wasn't for sure.
Sure. Well, what I say about field day, until you have refilled a running gasoline generator at 2 a.m. with a gas can, in the dark, you've never really truly experienced field day. Over.
Yeah, roger that. Oh no, I'm hoping that I can get enough battery power for this year that between battery power and solar, I'm hoping that maybe can just kind of do away with generator altogether.
Points for battery and solar, don't they?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think so.
That'll bump up your score if you're interested in keeping the score. We typically in Rutherford County had a 2 or 3 alpha type station, and usually running it off generator power. But hey, what can I say? The Rangers were very nice, and they gave us the key to the Ranger station, so in a pinch we could plug in. Over.
I got you. Yeah, I know last year, which I got there very late. I think it was 11 o'clock at night before I ever got there, and they was running off, which was had 4 stations. It was a 4 alpha station, but really wasn't operating but the one station. And no, Jeffrey was he was impressed with his battery that it's holding up as good as it was. And I don't know. I've got a Group 24 battery, and I'm going to buy a Group 27 battery that I can chain together. And then I got another 35 or a smaller battery as well, so I can have a lot of stored energy there. And then and during the daytime, I should be able to keep the battery somewhat charged with solar panels. So I don't know, it's going to be a learning experience. So see what happens there.
It's good. It's good experience. That's the purpose of field day anyway. Field day is to let you evaluate your emergency, evaluate your go kits and all your stuff where you can deploy in a second, where you can get a station up and running in an emergency. That's why it's useful to be familiar with the ICS system, the instant command system that everybody just loves. I don't care for it a whole lot because I consider ham radio operators to sort of be free spirits. Normally, I always said, I was EC in Rutherford County for 18 years. I always said, if you have an emergency, the ham radio operators will beat a path to your door to help. So I never really had to worry about having to get people in to have them conform to a certain reporting procedure. But that's really the way the ARES has gone, and I understand their needs for standardization. So it's good to have a go kit and have some extra mobile radios. And I don't know about you all. I think I've got 10 of the UV5Rs, maybe 11.
Well, I don't have that many of the UV5Rs, but I've got several of the little UHF radios that the little cheap ones I use for work. So they're they're nothing special. They're nothing spectacular, but they serve their purpose. They're a great radio for the money. I know a lot of people dog them and may even look down on you for having one, but I tell you, for what they are, for what they cost, I think they're a good radio.
Sure, this N4 BBB and the Newbie net. Well, just in a very short sentence, about 2 feet away from me, I have a Kenwood THF6A, which is a $300 2-meter, 220, 440 with AM broadcast and shortwave. It does everything. And if you drop that thing, well, it's the end of the world. If I drop the bow thing, okay, I'll live. That's my philosophy. If one falls out of a car while I'm working on stuff, well, I can live with that. It's a whole lot different if I drop that Kenwood.
Yes, I know that is right. I recently bought a used ID 51, and just went yesterday and bought a Anytone DMR radio. So I already been playing. I've had D-Star basically since I got my technician, and used D-Star a lot. And but DMR is my first adventure into it. And, I'm gonna set that little radio up tonight. And I don't know anything about DMR, but we fixing to find out.
And when in doubt, you can always Google it. I understand exactly. I don't have any of that stuff myself. I'm hearing more and more FT8 on HF and things like that. So I do some of that. I use multi-PSK as my basic decoding program. But lots of people are going different ways. Digital is really cool, but start getting farther and farther away from what ham radio is. And ham radio basically is HF with wire antennas and Morse code. So, we ought to try having a Newbie net session on 10 meters sometime, 10 meters FM or 10 meter sideband, something like that, just around here local, see who can talk. I'm sorry to talk so much tonight, you all. Everybody have a good night. K4LEN and the group N4 BBB.
Oh, that's no problem whatsoever. We're here to have fun. I believe tonight's been a pretty good night. Had a lot of fun. So a lot of good information as well. So that's always welcome here on the Newbie net. That's K4LEN. Net control. Anybody else got anything?
This is N4TOW.
N4TOW. Good evening, Rick, I think. Ain't that right?
No, that's going to be Mike. N4TOW, Mike.
Sorry, Mike. I don't know. I know Eric. But you and Rick, not your voice, but your call signs, I get y'all mixed up. So, good evening, Mike. How are you this evening?
I'm doing good. I just sit here and listen. I just grabbed my little HT. I forgot, my big radio's in my Jeep, and I'm getting custom bumpers made for it, so I didn't know if a little HT would do decent right now at this time of day, but it's doing pretty good.
Yeah, you're making it into the repeater just fine. No noise, nothing. It's doing a good job for you.
Well, that's a good deal. So you never did get back with me last night on that your buddy's there repeater. You got any details on it?
We're going to see, maybe give first dibs to the club, but yes, it's still available. I don't know if I'm sure he's actually listening right now. AK4R Steve is the man that's got it, and he's monitoring in the net tonight. I don't know if he's able to get in or not. All he's got for 2 meters is a horizontal Yagi, and he's a pretty good little step away from the repeater there, for especially to be horizontally. I can't think of my word I'm looking for, but for a horizontal antenna instead of a vertical. But yeah, it's still available as far as I know. And I can talk with him and maybe give you or him some contact information, get y'all linked up, and y'all can talk about it.
Yeah, roger that. Yeah, I'm interested in the repeater for sure. I'm going to be moving from Columbia and going back to Leaper's Fork. So my plan is to put a big antenna up in a repeater in one of my big fields back there and run several batteries and solar power to it to keep it running.
Okay, I got you there. Do you have your email address on QRZ?
I do not. Are you still online on the YouTube?
I am. I tell you what, look on QRZ. Well, Steve's email is on QRZ if you want to go to his page, and his call sign is AK4R Alpha Kilo 4 Romeo, and just shoot him an email on there, or if you can't remember that, you can shoot me an email. I'm good on QRZ as well, and I'll pass along his email address.
Yeah, roger that. I just put my email on the YouTube right there, but I'll go on the QRZ and check it out.
Alright, I got you right here. I can copy it, and I'll shoot you an email of his contact.
Alright, roger that. Got you. Yeah, I'm just coming here and just wave a hand to you guys. I like this Newbie net, but I've been doing some mowing and stuff like that at home, and I'm just tail end the longest line, and I heard a bunch of good stuff going on, but I'm going to turn it back over to you, Justin. K4LEN. This is N4TOW. I'm going to be clear on your final.
Alright, Mike. Well, we appreciate you jumping in and saying hello, and look forward to catching you back on the Newbie net again. Anybody else got anything for the Newbie net tonight?
And this is N4 BBB. On the QRZ webpage, they have a thing on the RFI calculation, and they've got a couple of calculators on there, and running 100 watts at 3.9 megahertz, I mean, you are so far below any limit. But there's a couple calculators on there that might be useful to people. N4 BBB.
Alright, Scott. Well, we appreciate that for sure. I also posted that video I was talking about onto the email reflector too, so if anybody wants to go check that out, it's on there as well. Alright, well, if nobody else has got anything, I'll wrap it up for tonight, and we'll take the last call for the Newbie net. Anybody else got anything? else heard, let me pull up my email here. Give me just 1 second. I gotta get my script out. Alright, well, nothing else heard. I thank everyone for their participation tonight. My count, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 including myself, and several monitoring on the YouTube page, so I had a pretty good night tonight. For any information about club meetings and upcoming events, please visit our website at w4ggm.org. Please remember to check in on our other weekly nets. The Emergency Management Net is held every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. on this repeater. The M-Tiers Net is held every Monday on our 70 centimeter repeater, 443.175, with a 100 tone at 8 o'clock. And our Thursday night regular Maury Amateur Radio Club Net, it's Thursday nights at 8 o'clock on this repeater as well. At this time, I will turn the W4GGM repeater back to normal use. Hope everyone has a great weekend. 7-3s from K4LEN. Good night and God bless everybody.
K4LEN in for BBB.
K4LEN. Go ahead there, Scott.
Yes, sir. I put in. I've got one of these RF exposure calculators, and using 2.2 dBi. That's decibels related to an isotropic radiator, and put in 1500 watts. I've tried at 3.9 megahertz and at 7.2 megahertz. Since I don't really DX very much anymore, I haven't used 20 meters or 15. But it measures the area of interest is at the center of the antenna, not the ends. And it measures from that, and using 1500 watts, I get safe on my situation at about 3 to 4 meters away from the center of the antenna. That's where the voltage nodes are going to be, is right there at the feed point. So I think everybody's going to be really easily satisfied with these calculators.
Okay. Yeah. That's not bad at all there, so you can handle that, no problem.